For me, the beauty of producing is that it's different every day, and it's different for every artist. And some artists, it's a very gentle process where you just guide them through, make sure they turn up in the studio on time, make sure they're well rehearsed, make sure you come in on time and on budget, and you just guide them through that process. Where as other artists, you've got to pretty much rewrite all the songs, play some of the instruments yourself, and so you don't really know until you start working with that particular artist.
I figured really earlier that I did just want to be in one band and just do one thing, but being a producer, you can be in a lot of bands. You can have a lot of open relationships.
Whilst a lot of producers can be very artistic and are very artistic, they wake up in the morning and they're working on other people's projects, so they are not their own project. When an artist wakes up in the morning, they are their own project, and it's often difficult for them to disassociate themselves from that. And with a producer, they might be equally artistic, but they have the ability to be able to move from one project to another, and that makes for a much more flexible and enjoyable life in a sense. Sorry for those artists in the room.
We're like in vacation camp. We're gathered together, and we don't answer the phone. We don't talk to anybody. We're just into this kind of summer camp, and we're kissing each other's, and we're having all sort of nice stories.
I want to come and work in your studio, dude.
In the past, for myself, I've been in situations where you'd have to be almost a therapist or a referee. I mean, depending on the bands you've worked with. When you work with a band like New Order, or some of these other bands, you have to sort of just get in between band members sometimes. So it's sort of, you have to sort of know how to deal with different people in different situations.
If I was in a band, I'd be extremely skeptical of working with a producer who didn't ask a lot of questions first before starting the process of recording the record. To me, that would be like akin to going into a clothing store looking for clothing and someone right away throwing you in a bunch of clothes without asking you what you're looking for, what event you're going to, what fabric you want to wear.
It is their record at the end of the day, and you're there to help them make the record that they want to make, not the record that you want to make. And I think some producers forget that.
Some artists do like to say, "I'm a piece of clay, sculpt me how you see it." I'm of the school of recording. I like to call it the sort of documentary school of recording, where it's just more capturing what's going on and less of a fingerprint. The irony is that the big ticket producers, the producers who make the most money currently, are the producers with the most recognizable fingerprint. Recently, I've the past like 5 or 6 bands I work with, I came to this realization in every session at a specific song that, and it took a lot for me to verbalize it, because I really have respect for what the band brings in, but to say, guys, you know that your song A doesn't go anywhere, B has no dynamics, and C has no arc. And to say that gently to a band, and then to suggest
and keep your job,
and but also just to sort of put your toe in the water and say, like, are you open to discovering that your song isn't there yet? And then without fail, just sort of gently suggesting some things, everyone enjoyed playing the song that much more,
Yeah.
And then that translated to something on the recording. For me, the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with in a studio is those sessions where people are incredibly eager and they're looking forward to it, and you can tell they're sort of nervous, and then you get the sounds and they're ready, and then they do the first take and they come into the studio and they listen to it, and you see on their face that what it sounds like in real time is not what it sounded like in their head. Mm-hmm. And it's always heartbreaking to say, okay, you're not where you want to be. You don't have the budget necessarily and the time in the studio for that process to happen fully. What are we going to do? How do we take it from where it is, which is somewhere which is not what you hear, to closer to what you do hear? And it's really heartbreaking just to see that moment of, I'm not where I want to be, and to facilitate it in a supportive way, in a non-judgmental way, because I think it's really easy. I mean, all of us, like within, we all have our own personal tastes. And within 3 seconds of hearing any piece of music, any one of us can say, I like it, no, it sucks, blah, 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 blah. But just to sort of dispel, for me, it's really hard to dispel good, bad, personal taste and just say, here's someone who wants to do something, and I'm going to try and help them do it as best as they can.
I have a feeling that none of us here really think about making hits ever. Like, we just want to make good music that we enjoy making, and the people that we're making it with are happy with. And if something comes of it that a lot of people suddenly like that record or a song of it, that's cool. It's fine. It's great. And the downside is that then a trail of people follow that want to sound like that and think that you're going to make them sound like that. And for me, that's the guideline for saying no to a project. If you want to sound like someone else that I worked with, no.
A lot of the records I appreciate weren't even recognized in their time. Like, none of those Velvet Underground records at the time meant more to 300 or 400 people. But they're timeless. And to me, I'd much rather not make something that's contemporarily great, or that's just like amazing on the first week of February 2012 and then forgotten. And so how do you make something timeless while appeasing the band and appeasing a record label, if you're interested in that?